It was definitely not easy, and what I learned about going through this journey is that it is good to talk to people, the right people. That's again another thing. As a single mom working in a bank and then cooking over the weekends, that was a bit tough to coordinate. So I also got help, like when I'm too busy, I would get a babysitter paid for, or we would share the costs with the government. And I have to say, I'm grateful also to the German government because they really tried to make it as easy as possible for me. It also depends on how you take it, because my son is also half black, half white. So these are also the issues that you have to tackle every day, and you have to keep talking to your children on how to go about this kind of situations so that they avoid misunderstandings, you know.
Good evening. My name is Kiarii, and it is a great evening once again. And always, you know what happens on Sundays is the Ellie's Hangout. And on Ellie's Hangout, we get to talk about personal issues. And tonight, my guest might be new to you, but not to me. None other than Kimani. And welcome, sir. How are you doing tonight?
Hi Ellie, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming to the show. I know a lot of people are expecting a different face, but you know, some things happen, and Kiare said he has a story to tell. So, Kiare, just for people to know who it is, kindly fill us in. Who is Kiare Kimani?
So Kiare Kimani is a young man of 30 something years, born and bred, raised in Nairobi. A firstborn of three, to two loving parents, Mr. Kimani and Mrs. Kimani. I have, oof, professionally, I have a degree in finance, but I'm a creative by every stretch of imagination and passion. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Did you just mention finance? I'm struggling with money. Are you hoping to give me some by the end of the show?
Good luck. Good luck with
Great,
getting
great,
any
great.
coins from me.
Okay, fine. So at this juncture, I just want to invite each and everybody watching. Remember, you can watch this cast live on Facebook and YouTube with the following handles: Liquiani Ellie at the As in Heart, that is on Instagram, though we are only but streaming on Facebook and YouTube, the As in Hearts official. So get in there, let's have a discussion. My guest, as I said earlier, he's not new to me, but possibly new to you. And for those who are in the photography industry, you probably heard of this man. We call him KK. So KK,
Mm-hmm.
kuna watu hapa nafikiri wangetaka kusalimia kwa comment section, so wacha tuwasalimie kwanza. Everybody that's watching,
So,
Mwafrika KE. So Ellie, this guy needs a separate show on finance management during this pandemic. You never know. Everybody got a story to tell, Mwafrika. Thank you so much. We have Sing who says hello, hello, and welcome to the show. Roda equally, and all the 37 of you plus watching, kindly bring in your comments. Remember, the hashtag is at inheart / responding to live. So let's get into it. KK,
mm-hmm.
it hasn't been such an easy ride for the past few years, especially in the photography industry. And as an
Yes.
individual, you've had quite some of them. I'm equally
Mm.
informed that you lost a few gears here and there, and they got into some sort of trouble. So feed me in with these stories. Where do you want to start?
So
It's your own business.
I'll start at where this passion for photography came from. I never, by the time I was meeting Ellie, for those of you who, as you've heard, that he knows me from way back when, I was actually more interested in becoming a DJ more than a photographer. But as time wore on, I one day just picked up a phone and that's how I started photography on a phone that I was gifted by a very distant cousin of mine called Hamza. So 2013 came by. By that time, we were having a change of guard in government, and Power and a magazine called Kwani were looking for photographers to cover the event in each county. So I happened to get wind of it. I went for the training. I got signed up. I got some bit of money to, like, a deposit to help me start the thing. And that's how my photography journey began. So I'm actually going to show you exactly what I started photography on. And you guys are not going to believe me, but this is a gift from my grandpa. So he gave me this camera, and this is what I used to cover elections. And yeah, so I covered elections with zero to no experience in photography. I just relied on my eye, and after that, I just took off. So I instinctively started shooting weddings. I mean, because they were more easily accessible than any other thing that I could do. And I'm also not very, like, if I don't know you, I'm a very shy human being. So if I don't know you, chances are I'm not going to even say hi to you. So I started shooting going to friends' weddings and taking pictures and posting them on a blog. I think it's still alive. I found it recently. And then, yeah, so that's how I grew to becoming a professional photographer. My first paid gig was the elections. And then 12 of my pictures were bought. I will not tell you how much I got. And then I did my first wedding the same year in 2013. And the groom gave me some good money plus a bottle of Amarula. So the perks to the job were quite good.
Yeah, sherehe.
Sherehe lazima, na itakangi hasira. So where now Ellie has mentioned, this is not 2 years, about 4 months after the event has happened. I went on this gig. Unfortunately, when I was leaving here, the camera I got, the person from whom I hired it from did not give me the charger with it. So I started making quick calls here and there from people who I know in Mombasa who can at least get me the charger. So fortunately, I did get one. I charged up the whole night, and I was ready to shoot. So the next day I went to the event. As I was preparing to get on the boat so that I take pictures of people swimming in the ocean, a wave hit me. And my mind was so focused on the task. I had carried my backpack with me, and inside it was I had just upgraded my computer 6 months before. So it was inside there, and it was on sleep mode. So I got hit, and I had to somewhat make a swim, maybe 5 meters, maybe it could be less, to shore. By the time I pulled out the comp out of the bag, the only thing I saw was steam coming out of the vents.
Wow.
The camera, because the way the camera is designed, it has a reticulating screen, so it doesn't flip out this way, but it goes up and down. And that exposes it now to the processing, the motherboard at the back. So water got in, it got destroyed, and that was the end of that. This being an ocean and it's salty water, electronics, bad recipe. I think also my phone was in my pockets at some point. So even that one too got cooked. I didn't even bother with it. Yeah, and that was the end. The only fortunate thing we had was the good thing that was there is that we had I carried my friend who's a videographer. I shan't mention him. for purposes of anonymity. Yeah, so he covered the entire event. And then to problem solve, what we did, fortunately, the memory card was not corrupted or it was not destroyed by water. So I knew I had some images, good ones. And then I still had, and then now we have the footage, the video footage. So we decided to freeze frames for the parts that I was not able to cover because of the accident.
I've been there.
That one is a very sticky situation to find yourself in. But for quite a number of years from 2016, maybe earlier on, say from 2006, 5, 6 there, I just started noticing changes in my moods. And I was just like, oh, okay, fine, it'll go away. But towards 2016, that feeling I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like a dark cloud is hanging over your head all the time.
Yeah.
Was very, very prominent. Fortunately, 2 of my friends wanted to shoot at a place I'd taken them where I live, in Juja, to the train station. So we managed to go there. I pulled one. I was closer to one. I know all 3 gentlemen, but I was closer to one. So I happened to tell him exactly what's happening. So he said, I'm going to talk to my housemate. Let's see how we're going to help you. A week later, I was in Donholm. And that's how I missed, or at least that's how the idea of suicide at that point did not work out. I'd actually planned, I was toying around with about 3 ideas.
You just mentioned suicide. Where did the whole suicide come? What was instigating all this idea of committing suicide?
Because I was just looking at, so I was looking at myself as a person, as an individual. And for quite a minute, or for quite a while, I'd always been feeling that I'm far too behind. I'm not good at what I do. A few things in my life at that point were not going well. And I was reaching the dreaded 3rd floor, as we call it, 30.
Mm-hmm.
So my birthday is in sometime in October. So I was feeling like I haven't done much. I haven't accomplished much. My friends who I went to campus with had really good jobs. Some of them were starting families. And it felt so terrible at times to tell them, hey, yo, look, I don't have money to come out to where you are. And so they're the ones paying the bills for me. And even at some point, I remember in 2014, things were so rough that I'd gotten gear from someone and I had to return it. So I did a shoot thinking that I was going to get, a little token of appreciation. Then now that never happened. So by the time I was getting to town, I had, between me and poverty, I had 5 shillings. And so I'm in the middle of town, outside I&M on Kenyatta Avenue. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've borrowed money from my friends. I've borrowed money from so-and-so. I've borrowed money even from my mom. Do I want to continue like this? I was like, no. So I asked myself 2 questions. Are you lame? No. Are you sick? No. Can you walk home? Yes. Please note, home is Juja. Now, for those of you who are keen, the footbridge at Pangani, there's a signboard showing you which roads to take and where and how many kilometers it is. If you look at it, you're going to notice it says Juja 27 kilometers.
That is from Pangani footbridge, right? And you're in the middle of the city.
And I'm in the middle of the city. So between Pangani and the CBD is probably anywhere between 3 to 5 kilometers, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I started walking And when I got to Pangani, I found this lady selling biscuits, and common sense, or maybe the little biology that I can remember, said, if you buy biscuits, there's glucose. I mean, there's sugar which will be converted to glucose. You're going to get energy for the rest of the road. True story.
So between you and your richness, you have,
Yes.
I will call it less than 5 cents of euros or whatever, 5 shillings, Kenyan shillings. And
Yeah.
you are here
It's about 50.
thinking, should I walk home or should I feed myself and walk home? What choice did you make, sir?
So the thing is, I mean, it's not like it's not like I had lunch. So I'm like, okay, I know if I have biscuits, I have reserve energy. I'll have enough sugar to keep me going, because the sugar is going to be converted into energy, so I'll keep moving. Advantage number 2 is that I had my phone and it had music. So I put it on airplane mode to conserve battery and played music. So to me, the simplest thing is mathematics comes to play. You'd think that you'd not apply math in life, in everyday life. Oh, what a tragedy. You will learn very quickly that you do. So, so I reasoned with myself, between where I am and home is a straight line. The only thing I've got to do now is have markers along the way on this busy highway and give myself deadlines to hit. So I told myself by 7 p.m. I should be past Githurai. By 8 p.m. I should be in Ruiru town. So that's exactly what happened. And I think I took a walk I was getting home some minutes to 10. Like, I think about now. True story.
Wait,
Actually, this was the time I was getting in.
You actually walked home from the
Yeah.
CBD?
Yes.
You know, if you were such a follower of some religious writings, I would say you fit well in the books of the children of Israel.
We could say that. The only difference is, I didn't circle around a mountain for 40 years. That's the only difference.
Okay.
I didn't go in a loop for 40 years. But when I got to, for those of you who are familiar with the Thika Highway, there is Clayworks, Kenya Clayworks, and opposite it is Peponi Farm or Peponi School. When I got there, my muscles failed. My thighs were like, no, we are not moving. I was on the brink of tears, but I remember hearing a voice go something like, if you sit here, you're not going to go. You're not going to move.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can't. The thing was, I had this voice say, you just stand up. And all you have to do between here and where the bypass is just make a jog. Just jog. Weirdly enough, my muscles didn't quit. Weirdly enough, my muscles didn't quit. So this was about 7:20 or 7:30. I'm not quite sure. But I remember passing the footbridge at Ruiru, and that's a hot spot for muggings. I remember passing it at exactly 8:05.
In night.
At night. So me walking on a moonless night, the only thing I have got as a source of light are the car headlights and the street lamps. So kept on walking up until I got to exit 14, and that goes to Gatundo. So it's a hill. After the hill, then you make a left to Gatundo town. By the time I hit that hill up exit 14, I was like, but you're home. I actually told myself, you're home. And my home is another, from that point, it's another maybe 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers in. So the thing is, I was doing money enough at that point, and that was on a Thursday. The next day at 6 a.m., I needed to be up because at 7 a.m., there's a bus coming to pick me up to go for money enough camp.
Okay.
My thighs were screaming the morning after, but I still have to go. So I made it to the stage, I got into the bus, and I think I continued. I didn't sleep as much, but at camp we got to camp, we had to do some few activities, and I expressed how tired I am. And people asked me, so what happened? And I gave them that very same story I've given you guys. And I was told by one of these guys, just go have a banana, your energy levels will be back up. I was like, cool. So I had a banana, my energy levels shot up again. Unbeknownst to me, the next day, which was a Saturday, we had activities. Part of this activity was an 18-kilometer walk.
You know what?
Brilliant.
I don't want to feel sorry, but I cannot stop myself from laughing at what you say.
It's okay. Like,
I think
cool.
you're
okay.
just. I think your God was setting you up for a better tomorrow because you did 25. What will stop you from doing 18 anyway? But we want to talk more about that. Let's talk more about that. And meanwhile, let's go to the comment section, see what they are saying there. Beryl McCory, thank you so much for joining us. She's saying hello, welcome to the show tonight. Kipra Roda, thank you so much for being there. Better late than never. Welcome. She's welcoming the rest of the crew. We have Vero Suzanne, who asked, Nani mwingine ana feel what Kiarii went through? Who else feels what Kiarii went through?
And then, tailored experience. Not everyone can have it.
Exactly. And everybody that is watching, you just about to hear some story at a different level. This was just, but the sweet.
This is just a tip of the iceberg.
Story. This is a tip of the iceberg, as they will say it. But you know what? For you to be able to converse with us, I would like to invite you, share this story with the rest, invite them, and more importantly, comment in the comment section with the hashtag @InHeart. You know how we do it, right? For the commoners, kindly show them how we do it. @InHeart is the hashtag. So KK, I will call you that because it's easier. Kiare Kimani is the name, so KK is what he goes with most of the time.
I'm cool with it. Most people call me KK.
Great. So let's cut the long story short and go into it. At one point, you mentioned suicide, and
yes.
What informed these thoughts? I want to take you back there. Yes, you've said you are at one point you saw you were not making good enough in life, and you thought you were just, but you didn't have anything going with you. So I think the moment this comes into play, it's depression at a different level. Walk me through that story, KK.
So the thing is, you're just looking at like some of those, like now that story I've just given you, and you're thinking, must I go through this much pain to succeed? Where like my other friends look like they're having it a bit easier. They're getting better jobs. I'm a photographer. What's not happening? So you start feeling low. You start questioning your value as a person. You start questioning the value of your work. You start questioning your relationships. You question, if you're religious, you even start questioning, why would my God, who's kind like this, I've been told all my life that God is good and kind, but why would he let me go through this sort of pain? Is it really necessary? So finally, what happened is, fortunately now, because this is 2016, I went and stayed with my friends for about 2 months. I felt I was strong enough to get a house by myself. But I guess at that point, God was not done with me yet. He still wanted to show me that he cares. And I moved in with another friend of mine, of whom I stayed with him for another 3 months or so. 2017, I went back home to my mom's place. I stayed with her for 4 months, and then I moved now to my own space. A job came, which was really good. It set me up nice. Off to Kikuyu I went. Now, here's the thing. This is 2017. Elections were done in 2013. So elections are coming up in August. And I'm like, so I move in May. I've moved out in May. I somehow make rent for June. July, I notice I'm struggling to make ends meet. By the time August is hitting, I'm like, things are rough. There are no jobs. Everyone is very skeptical about how elections are going to turn out. And I'm like, I've got bills to pay. I've got rent. I've got myself. I've got food to buy. I've got electricity. I've got water. The pressure starts building again. So somehow still money comes. I manage to pay rent. And then come September, October, these very same guys who called me for a job in Diani, one of them, the dad owns a PR firm. And one of their clients is a very huge hospital in Nairobi. I shall not mention which one. And so they plan this thing. I'm told, go do this thing. I'm like, I've booked this event for you. Go show out. I'm like, thanks, man. I do it. And the money was good. So, at least things are okay. But remember, like the bad part about having back payment of bills is that you'll find that you've paid rent for 3 months, but you owed rent for 4 or maybe 5. So you've got a deficit of 2, and a few other months are coming up ahead. So now whatever money you get goes directly into those things. So 2018 in Jan, I find myself in the same situation. Kwanza sasa January is like a giant Monday. Yeah. I always tell people, January does not have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No. January is just Monday, until all 31 of them or 30 of them are done. It's just a dry month. For creatives especially, not for salaried folks. But salaried folks also complain because they made a lot of money in December and they got paid at date 22nd.
Are you talking about some people that I know?
I'm not mentioning names, but there could be some of us who are like that. So I start having issues with the agent, and I tell this agent, look, so what we're going to simply do to solve this problem here is this. I'll get you the rent for January. Good, because that's what I owe you. And then Feb, because I can't move just immediately, I'm going to say, you have my deposit. Yes. So I'm going to sit on it. So for this month, I'm not paying you rent. I'm going to use the deposit. And then we will, whatever it is that could be broken or the paint that needs to be, like the house because it needs to be repainted, I'll go buy those things. And that's what I did. March 2nd, I was back again in my mom's house. So notice there's a cycle here. Notice that there's a cycle here. For 3 years running, or for 2 years running, I've stayed with people. I've managed to get out of my place. I go back to my mom. No, I stay with people. I go back to my mom. I get my own space, and then I go back to my mom. And then at home, there was just issues. I have a brother. My brother is struggling with, or has been struggling with, alcohol. So, and we've never seen eye to eye really because of the sort of environment we grew up in. I was not really kind as a big brother, and that's something I'm hoping to change and work out. So anyway, I go back home, and all these things that I had temporary relief from start coming back. And I'm like, okay, now. What do we do? So March, April, May, I'm at my mom's. In June, I get a job at a friend's company. And I'm happy about it. So one of those fine evenings, we have a scuffle with my brother. I decide I'm done. I call up a friend of mine. I tell him, this is what has happened. I come to his house of the current building I live in. And I stay with him for another maybe 2 months. So within that time, there are no vacant houses in the building. And then, so he asks the caretaker if there's a vacant house. And the caretaker says, yes, there is. I remember it as clear as day. My salary for September, well, actually I moved in September. So my salary for August is what I used to pay for rent and deposit and move in. Like I was done.
Yeah.
So I got my things and I came here. But then working for friends, okay, so having friends is one thing. Working with friends is a totally different thing. So I know my friend, he's a good guy. He's a good guy at heart. But as an employee, you don't know what kind of person that turns out to be. And so I get to a place, I think in the month of October, the pressure at work starts hitting at me to the point I would only sleep, now it's 10 p.m. So I'd get to bed at 10 p.m. so that I wake up, I'm able to wake up at 4. And I noticed that I'd sleep between 10 and 2 a.m. Between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., I'm awake. And so by the time sleep is coming by, it's 4 a.m., the 4 a.m. that I'm supposed to wake up. And that continues for a month. Month 2. So by the time this accident is happening in November 2018, it just really does me in. It just does me in completely. I'm looking at, oh my God, my relationships are failing. I'm earning crap at a job that is giving me a lot of stress. I can't even go out and source my own clients because this guy wants my full dedication here. You know. So December 9th, 2018, 2 a.m. I'm in my bed. I'm actually even hosting a friend of mine, but he was not around. 2 a.m. I've watched movies, I've watched a series. So 2 a.m. I feel now my eyes are tired, let me sleep. And I kid you not, as loud as you can hear my voice, a thought in my head comes in and says, this is too much for you. Take a knife, slit your wrist, and die. Now, most people would think, okay, that's a thought. What if I told you I felt every sensation even without having to do it? What if I told you that the thought just didn't stop there to the point I saw myself as a spirit? Like I saw myself in bed and on my, it was on my right hand. Yeah. So on my right hand side of the bed, I can see a pool of blood because I've drained out the blood. That's 2 a.m. You tell me what you're going to think about that for a minute. So I wake up at I think at about 6 o'clock. I prep myself quickly and I start making my way to church. Now, the thing about the trip in Diani is that when we were coming back, I got a panic attack and they started happening ever so frequently. So on this Sunday that I'm going to church, the 9th of December, I have a panic attack while in church. With those, I think we're doing the second hymn. And I remember vividly walking out. I walked out because it's in a school. I walked out and I went straight to the playground, and for whatever reason, I could not breathe. I could not breathe. My chest felt like it was being tightened with ice grip. So common sense tells me I don't have anyone to talk with right now. I have too many friends. Actually, I'm doubtful that I even have friends. So what do? I want to get this thing that I'm feeling out. I don't know how to express it. Twitter is my cave. So I wrote a tweet quickly, and the tweet read something like, have you ever had a thought so vivid that you felt every sensation in your body? So now I'm being told, I've just seen someone make a comment here, and it's called the nocebo effect. So I do that, and I give the same description I've given you guys about taking a knife and slitting my wrist and feeling every sensation. Two of my friends called me, and I think I had a lunch date with a good friend of mine from campus, whom I hadn't seen in years, but we had spoken the Saturday before. So she called me and she asked me, so what's happening in your life? And I told her, to be very honest, I don't know. The only thing I know is that I'm tired, and I don't know how long I can take this. I don't know for how long I can stand this. So we have lunch. A friend of mine calls me. Hello? Ellie?
Yeah, sorry, KK, I want us to take a short break, and when we come back, we want to dive deeper into this discussion. And for everybody that is watching, remember this is Ellie's Hangout. You are here in the Against All Odds with Kiarii, Kimani, a photographer, and of course, a surviving warrior against depression. We take a break. We'll be right back after this. Meanwhile, continue sending in your comments with the hashtag @InHeart responding to live.
Even
That you're watching tonight, and my name is Likuyani Eli. Remember, this is Against All Odds, coming to you every single Sunday from 9:30 p.m. African time, and that is 8:30 Central European Summer Time. So we are talking to one Kiarii Kimani, I'll call him KK, and we are talking and discussing about his battle with depression. Without further ado, allow me to bring back KK, who is ready for us. KK.
Yeah.
Quite a story there. For those who are joining, I still believe they can be able to follow through. And if they haven't, they can always rewatch after the live cast. So we are here, and all those thoughts are becoming so vivid. Exactly how many times did you ever think of taking your own life, and what were the circumstances around them?
The earliest I can remember, I was 9. I was 9 years old.
9 times. The earliest
I can remember, I was 9 years old.
The first time you ever tried to take your own life?
Taking, but the idea. It's called suicide ideation.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a story that even you're going to hear for the first time. When I was growing up, we had a help who, for whatever reason, decided that I am good enough to be her. Well, basically, she physically abused me, sexually abused me. Yeah. So I think that's the first time I recall, like a few months or years. Yeah, it's a few months after that happened. Yeah. That it became.
At the age of 9.
No, it happened at age 8, but the pressure now came at age 9. It came a year later. Because now I'm kind of feeling okay, then yes, it felt very disgusting, but I didn't know how to articulate it. But now I've grown a bit, I understand my world more. I understand myself a little bit more. And I'm now thinking, oh, okay, this is what happened to me. And then, unfortunately, because of also the kind of societies that we grow up in back then, and I think you can attest to this, is that if an adult did something wrong to you, it's not, you imagine that if you tell another adult, like now your parents, the other adult can easily say that this is a lie and you're going to be beaten for it. So you kind of keep quiet.
Yeah.
In high school they came, but they were never that serious. I just thought, it's just teenagehood and hormones raging. Yeah, but come 2018, 9th December, is when it became quite strong. It became really, really strong. So I remember coming home that evening after having lunch with my friend. I had the sensation to slit my wrist on this side. Night was on both hands. And I was in a bus and I kept on rubbing my hands like this. So I got into my house. I put my bag down. I threw it, actually literally threw it on the bed and made a beeline straight to the washroom, and I locked myself inside. So a few other people tried reaching me. One guy offered to host me for that night, and then when he asked me where I am, I said I'm in Juja, and I asked him, so where are you? He said Langata. This is at like 6:45, going to 7 p.m. One of my closest friends, called Deno, I was in campus with him. I took a screenshot of the tweet that I had done, and at the bottom I just wrote SOS. So after a while, when I looked at it, I was like, I didn't see the blue ticks of being read. I called him. He didn't pick up, but he called me shortly after. And we had a very long conversation, which I will not repeat for sakes of time. But at some point, I remember saying, I am tired. And he told me, I know, but the one thing I also want you to understand is that I know that you are not irresponsible. I know that you didn't do this thing willingly. This accident that you had, you didn't do it willingly. I also want you to know something. And I think that's the first time it ever mattered. But he told me, I want you to know I love you. And at that point, even thinking about it now, my eyes get a bit teary-eyed. I broke down. I started crying and I told him, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. So he asked me how much money I've got. I told him, and he's like, okay, let me call you back in a few. So turns out he called his wife and they had a conversation of, okay, so this is what is happening, and we're just going to have to agree. We don't have the luxury of time. So I took a cab and I found myself in his house a few minutes to 10 p.m. By the time I was alighting, the wife was waiting for me, and it's a friend of mine. She's also from campus. We're all in the same campus doing different courses. She was waiting for me, and all she did, she just asked, hi. And I said, hi. And she just hugged me for like 5 minutes. At that point, I'm like, am I making this up? Is this thing for real? Am I? So I sleep. I try and sleep. I cry a bit and then sleep because I'm so overwhelmed. Like I'm just like, I feel that like I was thoroughly convinced 9th December 2018 would have been my last day on this planet. Like I have no doubt in my head. And so the next morning, I'm called by another friend, a friend of mine who called me during the day before. as I was having lunch, and he asked me. He's called JJ. He asked me, "Are you free?" I said, "Yes, I am free." And he's like, "Can you make it to such and such a place?" And this is weird. This is strange for me, and I owe my life to very many people. This guy JJ put up a group together. I don't know how many people, and they paid for my therapy session. My other friend called Solo. My other friend called Solo on the Sunday. He was in such a panic mode because his car was broken down, and he was like, "I can't let this guy die." As people literally refused me. And I'm like, I just want to die. Can you guys just let me go? So anyway, as of 10th December 2018, 2 p.m., I was seated in front of a therapist. We spoke. I broke down. He told me, "Go back to the receptionist, ask for this form." Now, the title of this form is what shook me. It was Self-Assessment Form for Bipolar Disorder. And I'm like, huh? What are you trying to say? You guy, are you trying to say that I'm running mad? So I go do it, I fill it up, we go back inside with the form, and there's a way they score it. So I'm made to understand if you hit 20 and above, you have bipolar disorder. There's a way they measure it. And I was told, you have bipolar 2. Now, me being told that I have bipolar 2 was not such a big deal. The only big deal I had in my head was, oh crap, now I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life. And that's began a journey which has brought me here today. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% there, but I have managed to solve a good portion, I would think so, of the many things that plagued me from my childhood to my adulthood.
You know, KK, listening to you makes me wonder who I'm speaking to because I didn't know you today. I've known you for quite some time.
Yeah.
And the first time I met you, you were basically very, very fresh into media and photography. I remember giving you some editing lessons, right?
Yes.
But there you are, you're doing it great, and I'm so proud of what you're doing, sir. And it
Thank you.
takes me by
Thank you.
breath that I couldn't understand you're walking through this until that one time, I think 2 or so years ago, you mentioned to me, I was like, wow. But what
The
I
thing,
find amazing is that you are actually able to share your story and encourage the rest of people that are watching. So, if I'll ask you, sir,
mm-hmm.
what has been your biggest lesson through all this, and what would you want to relate to other people that could be going through the same situation like you are?
It's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say today, it's okay to say today I'm not in the best of moods. It's perfectly fine. You don't owe anyone happiness. Like for real, you don't. But you owe it to yourself. But to anyone else, you don't. Yesterday I met up with an old friend of mine, and he had a surprise for me. It's something I tweeted about years ago, completely forgot about it and shelved it. And he texted me the other day and he's like, "Where, by the way, you remember you talked about certain shoes?" Yes, I actually have a pair in the house and they're still fresh. Like I've not even worn them. come for them, they're yours. But when we spoke, he asked me, so how are you? And I said, today, I am fine. And the thing that he said back was, I like that answer because you're talking of your present. Tomorrow shall worry about itself. And I think that's something that we need to learn how to do. We need to learn how to live in our present. We need to learn how to live in our present. I'm not saying don't think about the future. No. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying learn to live in your present. And when the future comes, when tomorrow comes, you'll know how to deal with it. But don't think about tomorrow, today. Do what you can for today. Another thing is don't feel shame. Don't feel shame for having gone through abuse. Don't feel shame for coming from a home that was riddled with domestic violence. It's not your fault. Honestly, it isn't. At the end of the day, I joke with my parents. They're divorced, but they had a tumultuous relationship at some point in my life. And nowadays, I joke with them today. I tell them, when I start hearing them pointing at each other, and then they try and bring me in the middle, I'm like, excuse me, both of you are adults, sort it out like adults. Leave me out of this equation. It's not your fault that your parents decided to part ways. It's not. It's their life. It's their relationship. You're simply a byproduct of their relationship. You're not the anchor for that relationship. So do not take that responsibility for yourself. Again, we are all broken rulers. So we are bound to give very off-kilter measures. Do not compare yourself with somebody else. Never, never. Run your own race at your own pace. Eli has become a millionaire. Good for him. Be happy for him. It perhaps is not even in your destiny for you to become a millionaire, but you can become a millionaire in other ways. You can become a millionaire in other ways. You can become a millionaire in giving people advice. You can become a millionaire in being just a present friend. You can be a millionaire in, I don't know, just being a good human being. I think that just encompasses everything. Having compassion for the next man. I mean, it doesn't hurt you to be kind to another human being. And I think kindness can never be bought. Kindness will never ever be bought. So for me, I tell people it's okay not to be okay. I'm learning how to take the present as it is. It is okay to be anxious, but it's not okay not to do anything about the anxiety. If you're anxious, seek help. If you notice that you've been sad for about more than 6 weeks, you're a candidate for depression. Please seek therapy the quickest you can. Oh, also, therapy is just not for people with mental health issues. Please. Therapy is meant for anyone and everyone. There's many things in your life that is going on right now. So please go see a therapist and get a different outlook and an unbiased view to the very many things that plague your head.
Wow. KK. That's how short I can summarize your name and equally your story in 1 hour. I hope we can be able to capture everything. But if we didn't, ladies and gentlemen, KK is a very, very loud person on Twitter. He keeps changing his handle name, so I cannot keep pace with it. So kindly,
It
sir.
is at Mr. Kiare now, please.
It is at Mr. Kiare. So that is Kiari, Kiare.
Yes.
So make sure you get in touch with this young man because he's doing amazing stuff. He's not just a survivor and a warrior for that matter. When we talk about mental health issues, he's equally a very talented photographer. And in 1 minute, sir, you've been running a campaign to help you fix your gear that you actually lost. You want to give us a very brief
Yeah.
about this and how everybody that is watching can actually be able to be of help to you.
Okay, so the campaign is on Mchanga. The pay bill number is 891300. Account detail or account number is 31031.
Take that
So
again, sir.
I'll take that again. Pay bill number is 891300, and the account that you're going to send the money to is 31031. 31031.
So
Yeah.
again, why is Kiare doing this? It's because he has to replace a gear that he lost during the wave that hit him some time back, and it's a gear that cost him a lot of money. It was hired, and these guys have never stopped following up on him. So if you have that kindness in you tonight and you would love to reach out to Kiaria, do so with the pay bill number 891,300. The account is 31031. And this Mchanga crowdfunding, it's live on his page, I suppose.
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
And you can follow it there. So conclusion, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Ambia watu kitu.
I'm going to tell people two things. Depression is a liar. It's a liar in this sense. It makes you feel like you're not loved and wanted. And that's not your fault. That could be from a variety of reasons. But the one thing I want you to understand is that there are very many people who care about you. And the world is a better place with you in it. You have something to offer. The friend I saw yesterday wrote me a text. On that very day, he was telling me about this small gift he's got for me to go and get it. He said it in Swahili. He said, tunakuhitaji, meaning we need you. And I'm going to tell you the same thing. Tunakuhitaji, we need you. Stay alive. Don't drown. Reach out. I am available on Twitter, so you can throw me a DM. I will help you as much as I possibly can. I might not give you money, but I will definitely give you of my time. And I'll probably try and help you to some therapist or counseling service. I just want for you to get better.
Awesome.
I really honestly want to get. I honestly want for you to get better. Yeah.
Fine, that is fair enough, Kiari. Let me just go through the comments very fast as we close down. Sama, thank you so much for sharing your story tonight. Salama was equally sharing her story in the comment section, and I find that so profound. She says, my therapist told me everyone is a mental health victim in one way. Talk whenever you can. That is very, very great,
That's
Salama.
true.
Thank you so much. Adele goes ahead and says, thank you so much, Adele, for watching. She says, very, very true. Just be kind. Just be kind. And Mercy on the other side says, wow, this is therapeutic. You know, dude, you just opened your own therapy session right here. Raquel on the other side says, very true. A day at a time, tomorrow shall worry for itself. You know, take it as it comes, a day at a time. Who else is here with us? Jason Wiener, thank you so much for joining us. And each and every person that joined us in the cast: Zena Hussein, Chelsea, Cyrus Amandi, Alice Chari Rupia, Raul Keroni, Dasha Roulette, Saranjonjo, Beryl Makori, Noreen Ambata, and every other single person, including David Mutia Ruben. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation tonight. The conversation doesn't end. Keep sending in your comments, share this cast to your friends, and let them know they are not alone, because Depression will deprive you of your happiness, but your happiness still lies if you reach out to someone. Speak, reach out. As we close down, I want to wish you a very great evening. Remember, you can help Kiarii replace his gear with a paybill number 891300, and account is 31031. Thank you so much, Kiarii, for coming on show tonight. I appreciate you, sir, for making it right on time just before we went on air, and you made it on time. So see you next time, everybody. And this is Liquiani Elias. Always, until Tuesday in the Men's Day.